Nah, I done grew up around some people living their life in bottles. When they have the golden flask, back no bigger day in Chicago. Some people like the way it feels, some people want to kill their sorrows.
What it do, YouTube? This is Gent over at 2 Strong Gaming, and today we're coming at you with a lineup review of a lineup we plan on giving you gameplay with in the future, or in the near future rather. We're going to review all these cards with the exception of the bottom 3 here, the bench, and these 2 new Deep Shooter 2nd Edition packs cards, Allen Houston and Kyle Korver, because we typically don't run them in this lineup. While they can stay and possibly perform well for us, what they would be replaced with is ideally Jimmy Butler or Michael Jordan. But let's go ahead and get started with this lineup. Now, my overall concept behind this lineup is a good mixture, or an even mixture rather, of defense and offense. Now that's pretty obvious in almost any team. You want that mixture in order to do well. But I'm going to cover how these cards do this specifically, and basically I'm going to go over my likes and dislikes of each card pretty briefly. Now let's go ahead and start with Magic Johnson. We have him at the point. He's an interesting point guard because he's not your typical cheese that's been coming out lately, meaning 99 speed, 99 lateral quickness, 99 speed with ball. I can get past you and dunk, and if I can't, there's an issue. I don't know what to do. He's a very technical point guard. You have to have a game plan with him. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to know his limitations as far as offensively. You can't hit threes at a high clip. He's not going to out lateral quickness a good defender and then drive to the paint, tomahawk dunk, and then draw a foul. You will never see that. Okay, but the things you will see is posting up a smaller point guard. You will see a lot of drive and dish, some pick and roll game. He's excellent at these things. And then he could hit a mid-range at a nice clip. He has a good shot release, and he has an excellent free throw rating. So when he does go to the line, he's Mr. Automatic. You can count on him. Defensively, this card is a beast defensively. Very rarely do I have a defensive mismatch. The only ones I may have are the cards that are extremely fast. However, I try to mitigate that with putting a speed shoe on Magic Johnson in order to try and keep up with those players and not cause a collapse in my defense. He's such an issue defensively because of his length. I love his length. It really creates a mismatch problem for my opponent on defense, because if they pick and roll and I mess up on the pick and roll, I can easily recover because of his size. I believe they have him at 6'9". Guys, for perspective, Alonzo Mourning here is 6'10". Okay, so he's basically a 1 inch smaller Alonzo Mourning switching on the pick and roll, but he's extremely tall. So basically, the nitty gritty of it is put a speed shoe on him. He goes fast. The cheese on him, he can post up like a big man, but on your point guard, it's a mismatch almost every time. The smart players, they play players like LeBron James or Giannis Antetokounmpo on him, or just better defenders like Jimmy Butler. Now, the 3 were running LeBron James. This is pretty self-explanatory. This is LeBron James. Let me run him in my lineup. But I run it for a reason. There are a million other players I could run here. Actually, it's debatable. I could probably get equal or better results with Kawhi Leonard. The only reason I don't, though, is because I enjoy LeBron James' ability to handle the ball. Now, I need this because if I have Magic Johnson getting locked up by an opponent, maybe at a high level, I'm going to pass the ball to LeBron James so he could work some magic. Maybe run the point through him, create some offense that way, hoping my opponent's defense collapse because I'm throwing another strategy at him. The nitty-gritty of this card here is he can create his own offense, but when he can't, he's still a valuable player on the floor. He has excellent ability to play defense. These new small forwards that have come out in recent releases, these diamond caliber players, are insane offensively. If you do not have a good defender at the 2 or 3, you're going to get destroyed by even a player that doesn't know what they're doing but simply has these cards available to them. So I play him predominantly to add a little bit of defense onto my squad on those real cheesy players. But he can create his own offense and he can run the point. Put a speed shoe on him, he's beast. He's running laps on people. At the 4, we have Kristaps Porzingis, the Moments card that recently won the Skills Challenge over the All-Star Weekend. This card is self-explanatory. He's a beast. The price that is paid for him is very well warranted. This guy can hit threes, long, limitless range threes at a good clip. He has an excellent shot release. He's fast. He has some playmaking. He has B+ playmaking. You could technically, and I've done this only a few times, run the point with him. It's insane because he's so fast. If they're playing manual defense on Kristaps, there's almost no chance of them staying on him because of him being so fast. When I play with him, I typically put a speed shoe or speed with ball shoe on him. The things I like about him are his offense. We'll just leave it at that. He can do anything you want. Dunks, mid-range, three-pointer, to keep it simple. Defensively, he's a good perimeter defender. If your opponent is running a stretch type lineup, he can keep up. But my gripes on him defensively is he'll get bullied in the paint. You have a player on the opponent's team like Kevin McHale, and he knows what he's doing with him. He can back him down every single time. Your only hope of recovering defensively is Kristaps' size. He's 7'3", so sometimes he'll get a little block or something of that nature. Something about this card that I really like is he plays similar to how Ruby Chris Bosh plays for me. He's always running around the floor. He's in the spots you want him to be when you want him to be there. He's at the three-point line after that pick, and he's waiting there to hit that three green release. Or he's in the paint, has good positioning on the opposing player's center for an offensive board. He's just insane. He's all the right places at all the right times, like I previously mentioned. As we continue at the 5 and to conclude our starting lineup, we have Alonzo Mourning. Now this card used to be absolute garbage prior to the recent update 2K implemented that boosted these Diamond Rewards cards ratings. He could not hit a mid-range and really was just basically an undersized center, Ben Wallace if you will, but not really quite as good. Pretty sad to say, but that's how it really felt like playing with him. Now in present day, he's a beast. A lot of players run Yao Ming. Well, that's not an issue. Even though Alonzo Mourning is 6'10", he might be undersized, but he's not underskilled in the game. He goes ahead and alters every shot he's around. Any shot he can test, it's a high probability that opposed to just a mere contest, it actually turns into a block. He plays excellent lockdown defense on any player. Post player, perimeter player, the opponent tries to get a pick and roll. Guess what? Alonzo's coming on the other side. You could keep that switch for days. Meaning, if my opponent mismatches Curry with Alonzo on the pick and roll, that's no issue to me because Alonzo can keep up with Curry. As crazy as it is to say, I've done it time and time again, and I love seeing it, especially now. Offensively, what does he bring to the table? Previously, not much, just dunks. Now, present day, he brings a lot to the table. You could bring in some good offensive post moves back down an opposing team's center if they're not playing Yao Ming. If they're playing a Kristaps Porzingis at the 5, I'm backing him down with Alonzo Mourning and getting some nice, fundamentally sound layups, some fun post moves to use, up and under. And he really imposes his will. Instead of getting an up and under dunk or rather a layup, he'll go ahead and get that up and under jam. He'll dunk from a couple feet away from the rim if he fakes out your opponent. I love seeing that. He's a fun card to play with, and he's everything that I embody in my team. Good perimeter defense, good post defense, just the ability to not be taken advantage of. Now as we go on to our bench, we have a bench unit that is essentially a decent, very fairly even to our starting lineup in my opinion. Their whole goal is to score at an insane clip but have the ability to defend as well. So what we have here is James Harden running the point, and if that doesn't work out for us typically, we go ahead and have Kobe Bryant run the point for us. Kind of similar to what I mentioned earlier as far as Magic Johnson and LeBron James switching off point guard duties depending on the situation. I do this because sometimes people understand why I'm running James Harden. I'm looking for a mismatch. I'm looking to cheese a little bit. Get those easy buckets while my starters are resting. This is where Kobe Bryant comes in. He can spot up for 3. He has an excellent shot release. However, if James Harden isn't able to do what I want him to do, Kobe can do so just as well, and sometimes even better. His dunk animations are insane, his speed is insane, and most importantly, I like his defense. He has a B+ perimeter defensive rating. I have a defensive shoe on him right now, so his defensive attributes are boosted. I really like this combo here. At the 2, typically I might run a player similar to Kyle Korver, preferably more of a Ray Allen-esque type player, or Ray Allen himself because of the defense. But right now we're testing this Kyle Korver with a defensive shoe to see if the shoe will make up for his defensive struggling. Now this is interesting to note, and a weird thing that I notice about 2K sometimes is this player Kyle Korver here is described as a two-way star. In my opinion, a two-way star is a player that is gifted offensively, which this card definitely is, but is also gifted to some respect defensively, and his defensive attributes aren't really gifting at all in my experience and my opinion. But as we continue on our lineup, as a quick summary thus far, we have James Harden at the point. We know why we're running him. Excellent offense, average defense, but he has decent size, so he's not an issue. Kobe Bryant as that backup point guard in a way, running the 3 for good defense, excellent shot release as far as the animation, and excellent ability to create his own offense. Now here's where it gets interesting. At the 4 and 5 respectively, we have Kevin McHale here at the 4. This card is a beast if you know how to use him. Now he is a post player supreme. You can't create your own offense with any players in your starting 5. Give it to Kevin McHale. He will create offense for you. Guaranteed. Dream like up and under. Fake out the opposing player. Even if they're playing CPUD, this player has the strength and ability to back down opposing 4s so deep into the paint that if he doesn't make the shot, there's a high probability that he's going to get fouled because of the opponent's defense. The card is just insane. The next gameplay I do with this team, I'll pay special attention to Kevin McHale when he's on the floor in order to show you guys that this card is definitely worth getting on the My Team Blacktop if you can. Now, finally, at the 5, we have Karl Anthony Towns. The Ruby card of this played excellent for me on the PlayStation 4 on Xbox platform. It was a no-brainer to get the Amethyst version. Now I haven't upgraded his badges yet. He plays excellent for me every game. He's an excellent balance between stretch the floor big, bully ball big, and an excellent defensive player. And he has the tendency to run the floor. He's very quick. So he goes ahead and gets up and down the floor and gets positioning over opponent centers more often than not. I love this card so far. You could run DeMarcus Cousins here, but Karl Anthony Towns has just done way better for me than DeMarcus Cousins. I really like his athleticism and his ability to run it up and down the court. And his defense is excellent in the post as well. I believe it's highly rated, a little bit more than DeMarcus Cousins. If we could go ahead and look here, we'll go ahead and take a look for you guys. DeMarcus Cousins post defense is just an A, and his perimeter defense is a D+, whereas Karl Anthony Towns is way above that. And then let's look at athleticism. The athleticism is a B+ compared to a D+, so that really plays into consideration when I'm choosing these centers. Now, in conclusion, guys, why am I running this lineup this way? I like to stretch the floor at times with Kristaps and whoever I have at the 2, and LeBron James can hit 3s. But I also like to create my own offense in a nitty-gritty type of way, just in case I'm playing somebody that plays off-ball defense or just I can't find my stroke. So I like that offensively, and defensively, I like to have players that have the capability of locking down, getting good rebounds, getting offensive boards, playing a lot of bully ball. I like to run a bigger lineup. Look at the size we have here on the 1, 3, 4, and 5. At the 5, I'm not talking about his length vertically, but rather his strength. He really imposes himself on the game, even though he's only 6'10". And on the bench, we have kind of like a glass cannon bench on the 1 through 3. We have players that are decent defenders, but excellent offensive players. And then when we get down to the post, we have excellent post players that have all the moves in their repertoire, but they also have excellent defensive ratings, and they can really lock down opponent players. So, in conclusion guys, this is Gent over at 2 Strong Gaming, and look out for that gameplay featuring this lineup. You guys are sure to enjoy it.